Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 29 of my Forex trading journey. Hope each and every one of you had an amazing weekend. And here we are coming back over to our charts, just getting ourselves ready for the trading week. And just taking a look so far, while we don't have any opportunities as of this particular moment, what I do need to do in the meantime is for platinum. This particular account, we did indeed end up blowing. So again, all that means to us is that we just need to adjust our strategy for this particular pair. And again, we've been testing a few different things, about 5 different strategies for platinum so far, without success right at this moment. So we're going to get into this, do challenge or strategy number 6 on this particular pair, while I go ahead and get this account here ready. Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. So what we're going to do this time around, and that's perfect, by the way, because we have a opportunity just coming in right there for platinum. But what we'll do is I'm going to change this to 20. And all that means essentially is that I'm going to change the stop loss a little bit for excuse me, I'm going to change the stop loss right there for platinum. And then so we've got that going now. And again, what we're going to do now is just a little bit of a different strategy, and you'll see exactly how all that shapes up in about 9 minutes from now. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to also create a new terminal platform for us, a new MetaTrader 4 terminal platform. That way we could place another pair. So I'll be right back while I go ahead and get that situated. Okay, everybody. So what we'll do is we're going to, again, we're going to download MetaTrader 4, the Windows version. We're going to go to Hugo's Way so we can get that download started. And then because this will be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, our 7th terminal, I'm going to left click on settings. Make sure we go all the way over here. I'm going to make that a 6. There we go. I'm going to actually uncheck that. So I wonder, by unchecking that, if that does not allow that website to pop up, since we don't need that. And all we're doing is waiting for, there we go. Okay, let's click finish. While we wait for that guy, let's move a couple of things around. First, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this for the meanwhile. Okay. Isn't that the taskbar? Okay, perfect. Move that right there. Go here. Go here. All right, beautiful. So that account has been created. This platform is ready. And now I will be right back and I'll set a few more things up. Okay, perfect. So this pair is ready. The software is in there that I need, and we're doing this all in record time, by the way, before our candle for platinum closes in about 4 minutes, 3 minutes from now. So what I'm going to do now is just I'm going to do a selection for what pair I'd like to use. So left click on view, I'll left click on symbols from here. And now it's just a matter of choosing which pair do I want to do specifically. Energy, we've tapped all the energy pairs. Metals, we've tapped all the metal pairs so far. So let's see. Why don't we do... let's do a crypto. See what a crypto does for us. Oh, so I used to trade Litecoin back in the day. That's actually how I discovered the hedging portion of my strategy. So why don't we go ahead and, just for old time's sake, let us trade LTC. Put that on the 15-minute time frame. We'll see how this pair does. Oh, don't need that. Okay. Let it stay like that, and then go to indicators, go to here. Awesome. Then we come all the way over here, turn on the candles. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So now we've got that set up. So all these pairs now are ready to go for trading, and then all I need to wait for is, yep, just taking a look at everything else. Yep. Okay, so all I really need to do now is wait for platinum, wait for this candle to close, wait for that arrow to stay there, and then we've got ourselves a trade opportunity. Okay, everybody, so we're going to take a buy trade first on, of course, I have to accept the terms and conditions first. Okay, so we're going to take a buy on platinum. Now, our strategy is going to work just a little bit differently. So instead of now a 100 or 200 point where we would go ahead and we would adjust our trade, or take a what we close the open trade that we're in. We're actually going to now go for a 200 point limitation right there. So let's see, that was our lowest point was at 909.52. Come on. There we go. 909.52 all the way to 200 is going to be 907.50. So we're going to make sure I do all the remembering. Okay, great. So that's right there. So we're going to leave that right there. And then we got another 15-minute candle. We got another buy arrow. And the buy arrow moved over to the next candle. So we're going to wait for that to close in about 13 minutes, and then we go from there. So we already got our first trade, platinum, and I'm actually very grateful to be able to see this opportunity and not any other opportunity, because admittedly I overslept. Really, really, really embarrassing on my part. I did oversleep today, and so I did break my rule. And I'm definitely okay with admitting that, hey, I got a little bit lazy and I got up right maybe about 20 minutes ago. So realizing that I had to rush down here, get everything set up, and I'm just very grateful to still be up and still be able to do this, and understand that but by oversleeping I didn't miss any opportunities. I was able to still get my opportunity, and we'll be able to go from there. So I want to go ahead and talk just a few things, because I feel we've been talking a lot of conceptual stuff, but not necessarily going into, okay, we got into this trade, how come we went into this trade scenario? So especially with buy, or I'm sorry, with this buy trade on platinum, while again, we had the buy arrow move for us. No, we do want to take a look and again, just understand, some of the reasons we're getting into this trade. Of course, we've got a uptrend that's going on right now where price is creating higher highs, price is creating higher lows. So here's our higher high, and here's our higher low that's being generated right here. And so understanding that we're following just that route, that market structure, that bullish market structure, that gives us a little bit of that gives us an opportunity to go ahead and stay in this particular trade until it's otherwise necessary. So that would be one of the, again, if we, even though we're not necessarily following all that, we're just looking at, hey, here's a buy arrow, we go ahead and take a trade when we see the buy arrow. No, there are other things that are influencing my decision to get into that trade besides just that buy arrow. So understanding that I do have multiple points of confirmation that are saying, hey, we're seeing this, so it's okay to take that trade. It's not a bad thing to know that there are things, or not things, but there are opportunities out in this market where you are able to see a few things pop up for trades, and all you want to do is go ahead and take advantage of those. And so what I also want to talk about is, I spoke on this a couple of times, but I don't feel I've been emphasizing this enough, And that is the purpose of equity. So the purpose of equity is, and I mentioned this especially at the beginning of our journey, but equity is ourselves the working capital that we have in order to take these trades. Now, I pointed out before that there are a few things that you can pay attention to on our trade tab right here, which I've got ahead and circled. That's on your MetaTrader 4 program. One is the balance. The second is the equity. The third is the margin. Well, in this case, because we're in a trade, we're going to see that margin pop up right there. Then we have free margin. And then we have margin level. Now, as far as what I look for, some of the things that I factor in or what I'm paying attention to as I'm trading, I'm really not necessarily caring about margin level. Not to say that it's not important, but as far as what we're looking at, as far as what we need to pay attention to, as far as what we need to do, free margin is really, margin level, we don't necessarily need to track that all that much. It's not necessarily the biggest thing that we have to worry about, so I don't pay attention to it as much. Now, that is something that I don't mind doing a deep dive in one of our later episodes, one of our later days. But for me, margin level, I just don't really see a need to pay attention to it. Now, at free margin, that is important because free margin allows us to understand, okay, how much room do we have for our trade? And also, does our free margin give us enough space in order to see if there are other trade opportunities that are out there in the market? Margin, so again, free margin, I'm going to write this down, is how much space do we have for our existing trades, as well as the ability or opportunity to place more trades if necessary. So I'm going to give everybody about 5 seconds to take that down before I move on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, again, you can pause the video if you need to. Okay, so we'll put that right there. Okay, so we'll put this right here. And then margin for us is how much how much of our funds is being used to play in the market. How much of our funds, or how much of our money, is being used to play out in the market. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, perfect. We'll put that right there. And so with margin, this just allows us to understand, okay, how much of our money is being used, is being leveraged to play out in the market, and is being used to generate more capital for us. Equity, which is the subject of what I wanted to get into, equity is how much fuel, essentially, or how many funds we have in order to play in this market. So equity, how much money do we have left to play in the market? Now, equity and free margin are different in this sense. Free margin, you can use that to specifically place more trades in the account. It's also a great way to determine how much space you have for your trades. And then equity is more of the number of, okay, we have this much money to play in the market. So this is how much money we can use in order to or what we understand is this is how much money we have before our fuel supply runs out and thus our account gets blown up. And then the balance, I could think of as like a warehouse where it stores, or what's the word I'm looking for? The balance is more so it is how much we have, how much of a fuel tank, if you will, built up based on how far our equity has gotten us. So the way I see it, let me put all this. So as far as order of importance in this, if I were to put like a, this is what you want to pay attention to the most. Actually, what we can do here, I'll make this like a circle. So the equity, of course, as I've talked about, is the most important thing, right? So this is the most important thing that I pay attention to first, and then it goes, margin. How much of this equity right here is being used to play out in the market in order to have the potential to generate more equity, and then free margin comes next, because once we start to use margin, how much other funds that are free based on our equity equation right here can be used for either space for existing trades or the opportunity to place more trades. And then balance would be, okay, based on the trades that we have taken using our equity, and then that being converted over to margin, how much of a fuel tank or how much of a balance do we have now based on how much our equity or our trades have gotten to us. So as far as the circle right here, I go equity first, then margin, then free margin, then balance. Those are the order of what I look at in terms of each and every day that I'm starting out, as far as, okay, how much funds do we have first and foremost based on our equity, and then how much are we going to use those funds to place trades? How much funds do we then have left to place even more additional trades? And then from there, what is our balance, or what is the balance that we have gained by following the first three items? And then it comes back full circle by saying, okay, how much equity do we have now based on the trades that we have taken throughout the day? And so that's how I look at, as, when we go through each and every one of these pairs, each and every time I'm checking, okay, here's our equity. Again, this is what I'm first starting out. So here's our equity. Here's our equity. Here's our equity. Here's our equity. And here's our equity. And again, we're just starting out with LTC USD. So that's where I'm going into this equation saying, okay, this is where we are. And this is where and now when we end the trading day today, we'll be able to determine, okay, how far have we gotten based on that. Now, this candle is about to close here in the next 10 seconds. So I'm going to allow that candle to close first, because again, we do have a buy arrow that's showing up right here, indicating that we're still in a uptrend for platinum. So I'm going to go ahead and take that trade just like that. Boom. Okay, there we go. So my low point right here is 909.28. So I'm just going to take that and go all the way down to, we'll do 907.22. That's perfect. There we go. Okay, so we've got that going for us. So now we're in 2 buy trades for platinum. Let's see, other than that, again, no other opportunities as of this particular moment. So what I want to go ahead and do next is I want to talk a little bit more about testing financial instruments, and in fact, even testing different financial instruments. Now, it's not a big secret so far that right now I'm going through each and every one of these pairs. And from here, what I'm doing is each and every week, I'm testing out a different financial instrument at the start of every trading week. Okay, so by coming back to my point and testing different financial instruments, the idea is the more that we test out these different financial instruments that are out there, the more trading opportunities that we're going to see in the market, and the more opportunities that we see out in the market, the more that we can go ahead and trade, and the more that we can grow your account. Now, that's of course one way that, that's one reason how come I'm deciding to test out different instruments, but also it's a matter of getting more experience with trading on these different financial instruments as well. As you could see or not as you could see, but as we've gone through all of these different charts, as we've gone through all of these different instruments, we've noticed that platinum moves differently than gold, which moves differently from gold versus euro, which moves differently from UK oil, which moves differently from silver, which moves differently from US oil, and that's ultimately going to move differently than LTC USD. And in turn, what that gives us is then a opportunity to go ahead and allow our our skills to be developed by just understanding, okay, now each pair moves differently, and so there's going to be not necessarily a set strategy for all pairs, but more so we're fine-tuning each and every trading instrument to have its own strategy based on the way that it moves. Now, while the variables in the strategy are going to be different for each pair, we do know that the most important 3 things when it comes to our strategy is, of course, trend. First determining if we are in a trend where prices are moving up, or determining if we're in a trend where prices are moving down. So that's one. Number 2 is the risk management point. How much are we going to be increasing our lot size based on the dollar amount that's in our account? And then number 3 is, when do we enter and when do we exit a trade? Now, it's pretty uniform, the 3 components of the strategy. Nothing changes within that strategy. The only thing that changes are the variables that are in the strategy. So, like, platinum is probably the best example of this, because we've been trying out different variables. We've been stretching out the different variables based on the data, or based on the trades we have taken. We've been able to go ahead and gather results based on that. We've been able to see what gold is doing. We've been able to see what oil is doing. We've been able to see what silver is doing. We're going to be able to see how LTC does as well. And as long as we keep following that particular formula of testing, we'll get to the point where we'll be able to grow our accounts. And so what this comes down to is just being able to not only get multiple opportunities, but also study the financial markets a bit more by trading, and being able to grow in that experience based on that. And so there are a couple of different ways that we could do this. Now, there's using chart tabs, and I showed off specifically in one of my earlier videos how I would do that, which is I would go ahead and I would Let's say I go to view, I go to symbols. Let's say that I wanted to get gold on here. Now I can go ahead and do that. I can then go to my market watch, left click on gold right here, right click, left click on chart window, and I can easily have a chart just like this, and I can monitor back and forth to go ahead and be able to cycle through the different pairs. Now, what I found out was, and this is going to apply for everybody, but for me, what I found just a little bit easier rather than doing that is I have been just using different MetaTrader 4 terminals like we see right here in terms of cycling through the different pairs. Now, there's several advantages to doing it this way, specifically more if you're on a demo account. By the way, the buy arrow did indeed move over to the next candle. So in about 6 minutes from now, we're going to be able to determine if we have another trade opportunity that we can go ahead and take. But the idea by doing this is, okay, if we are going to test all these different pairs on different demo accounts, and I don't want to get overwhelmed by cycling through all these different charts, just trying to find out, okay, which ones do I need to monitor the most? What I found is easiest is just have all these different panels open, and they're specifically focused on one individual chart. And to me, that makes organizing a little bit easier. Now, that's on me. You can certainly do all the multiple charts on one terminal just to have one terminal there. So it is going to be based up to preference as to what would make the most sense to you. Personally, I do it this way just because while there's more tabs I need to go ahead and open, more platforms I need to go ahead and open depending on how many pairs I want to trade on. For me, this helps allow organization just to be a little bit easier for myself, and this also helps me confirm I'm not missing out on any opportunities that I don't necessarily I can't afford with missing out. Now, also, one thing that we want to keep in mind is that each and every one of our charts should have the one-click trading terminal platform ready for us, ready to go. So let me take this pen right here, just mark down where LTC USD is. In fact, even before that, we also want to make sure that if I left click on tools, left click on options, go over to the trade tab, that our one-click trading is also turned on as well, just like so. So if I cycle through all these pairs right here, you're going to notice that each one does indeed have the one-click trading tab open up. It looks like the buy arrow disappeared. So I'm actually going to go ahead and place 2 sell trades right there. So we did indeed lose that trade on platinum. Absolutely all right. Absolutely perfect. We'll be able to move forward in the right direction still. So we're going to be waiting for another trade, but I'm actually glad that happened because that allows me now to talk about, okay, what is hedging our trades? Because I've been talking about hedging a whole lot without giving too much of a explanation for what that is. So for platinum, for example, we went ahead and we went in there with the idea, with the concept that we were going to go ahead and take a buy trade because that we saw that we were in an uptrend. Now, and because the buy arrow also originated giving us our entry point. So we did that. We waited for the trade to play out. And then ultimately the candle itself did indeed, or the arrow itself did indeed disappear, no longer confirming that we are in an uptrend. So what we have done instead is, okay, we are going to not, instead of closing a trade for a loss, we would press the sell button, get ourselves into 2 sell trades. That way, if price indeed decides that instead of an uptrend, we are in a downtrend, while we won't necessarily be able to generate profit from the buy trades, we will have 2 sell trades that are in profit that could be used at a particular point in time. And that'll be a lot that will be easier to see, easier to visualize when we have an opportunity to execute either a buy trade when we already have a sell trade and profit, or if we're looking to execute a sell trade when we have a buy trade that's already in profit. And everyone's seen a few examples of how that's worked throughout our days on this particular journey, but I'll be able to go ahead and illustrate that a little bit better, or I'll make sure to illustrate that point a bit more clearly when we get ourselves into one of those next opportunities in the future. So, of course, the sell trade for platinum did not work for us. Absolutely perfect. We will wait for another opportunity out here in the market. And once that has happened, I will definitely get back with you guys. All right, everybody. So I'm just coming back to the charts right here, and we're going to place, we're going to place a sell on UK oil. We could see that we had a down arrow, and the candle closed on that down arrow for a sell opportunity. As we take a look, can definitely understand, how come we're getting into this particular trade. Just taking a look at just the market structure right here, I could see that right now we are in the midst of a lower high being created right here. We have been in a downward trend where prices have been creating lower highs and prices have been creating lower lows. So that's that's prototypically what you would see if you're in a bearish market with the UK oil. So we're going to get ourselves into that sell trade, and we're going to have that particular trade opened up for us. And then in the meantime, just taking a look at everything else that is here. And we do not have any other trades besides just that. So with that being said, I also want to go ahead and I want to talk a little bit more about what we can do on the MetaTrader 4 platform itself. Now, you may have heard me talking about how rather than having multiple charts up on one trading terminal, I decided to have multiple terminals where I only have one chart so I could focus on that one chart specifically. Again, that may work for me, but that certainly may not work for you. And so if you're interested in putting multiple charts on, you could certainly do that. Again, you can left click on view, left click on symbols. You could choose, let's say I want to put US oil on this particular pair instead. I can do that by going to view again, then going to symbols, making sure that US oil is highlighted, and then left clicking on show in order to bring that particular that particular chart up. Now I can also, and then once I do that, I can then right click on US oil, left click on chart window, and it will pop up just like so right here. And in order to make sure that that chart bar, or at least these charts are showing, if you go to view, you do want to make sure that your charts bar is indeed check marked. Now I'm going to show exactly what happens when I do not check charts bar. We can see that that has disappeared, and so that can get confusing, especially if you're trading in that particular style. So the important thing is to make sure you're left clicking on view, left clicking on charts bar. That way you can go ahead and bring that up if you are interested in having multiple charts on one terminal. So I'm going to leave it just like this. But we got UK oil. Right now we are in a sell trade on that, and essentially, and this is what it has come down to for every trade that we've taken, every strategy that we've tested, every trade that we have been in progress for, waiting on all these opportunities. We can sum this up. I think this is just such a very important concept for, especially as we move forward, is to play the waiting game. A lot of us are, especially when we look at the $6 trillion market in the grand scheme of things. This can be at one point there's a lot of opportunities out there, but what those lots of opportunities can do for us is that could get us into a trap of a trap of trying to take every opportunity that's out there and not staying patient and trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Going Rambo on the charts, essentially, where you're kind of going commando and doing your own thing. And I do believe that at some point in time you are going to go through that. I've been through that multiple times myself. And I know how easy it is to get caught up in that, especially because, ooh, I want to make more money. Ooh, I want to make more money. Ooh, I want to make more money. And, all of that important stuff that comes up. But at the same time, by doing that, that only allows us to get ourselves into more of a risk with trading without following the rules in our system. And so when it comes to what I mean by playing the waiting game, of course, I'm not just throwing out trades needlessly. I'm not throwing out trades blindly, but instead, what I'm doing is I'm following a certain set of rules that allow me to look for the best opportunities possible. So, for instance, on UK oil, this trade right here, I didn't just take this sell because, I thought that at this moment it was looking pretty good for a sell. No, there were a few things that allowed me to look at the charts better and say, oh, okay. So because we're in a downtrend and because price just created a lower high, and because we're also looking at our risk management plan, I decided at that particular point in time that it was all right for me to place a sell on UK oil and allow myself to get into this particular trade opportunity. And by doing that, this allowed me to work on my patience, waiting for this particular trade to become available, and for me to then click the sell once it's available. And I usually think of financial trading, forex trading, what we're doing right here. It's very similar to, going on to these fishing trips that I took with my grandfather. And now I never really enjoyed fishing myself. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't say to have any regrets in life, but I do. The one thing that I would have liked to be more self-aware is especially at that time, because I was a stubborn I was a very stubborn kid back then, very into his own way. But those fishing trips with my grandfather taught me, that there is a ocean out there, ocean of fish, and all we had to do is just put our stick out there, wait for the opportunity to catch a fish, and then once that fish is there, go ahead and reel them in. And I bring up this story because, this is in one aspect or another, an ocean of $6.6 trillion a day coming in. We have our opportunity to be able to play in this market. But by playing in this market, we have to understand that by playing the waiting game, and by the way, the waiting game doesn't necessarily just mean, okay, we get into a trade and that's the end point of the waiting game. No, the other part comes into play as far as, okay, how many pips are we going to collect on one particular trade? Do we have enough patience to stay in the market and allow a trade like US oil to develop where we either take our 30 pips and we exit the trade, or we go ahead and once the arrow has disappeared, we don't leave that trade early by entering early, exiting early. And that goes for if we're following the 30 pips rule, or if we're following the rule where the arrow disappears, that's when we get out of the trade. We allow, then after we enter the trade, after we patiently waited for our opportunity to enter the trade, i.e., put our stick in the ocean, wanting to catch fish, we now have to go ahead and allow the trade to develop and allow the trade to play out to where once it's done its thing, we have we have successfully completed the one objective or the other, and now we can go ahead and get out of that trade successfully. And that's where
playing the waiting game comes in. And in order for us to do it in that particular form, our risk management comes into play as well. Now, you've noticed that for every part of the phase that we developed, so we went from phase one, back on day one, we had our 5 minute time frame that we were using. Then we evolved that into the 15-minute time frame for everybody. And then for platinum, we've done a few variations based on based on the testing we did for each particular phase of our strategy. And what we're now noticing is that, we've also adjusted our risk management strategy based on what we haven't tried yet. What haven't we tried yet that we need to test to see if this is a viable strategy or not. So, as far as each and every phase of our strategy, which goes from trend to how to enter and exit a trade, and then our risk management, at least two of those three things they have been very fixed. They have been very solid on in terms of getting opportunities for us. And then it's just that risk management that we're adjusting in order to make sure we have ourselves a sustainable and winning strategy for the future. And so that, again, that comes into, when do we enter a trade? So we enter a trade, in this example, we have a couple of sell arrows, and the sell arrow just moved over to the next candle. But in this demonstration, we would enter at this particular point because we know that UK oil right now is in a downtrend. It is in a downturn in the market. And so because we know that it's in a downturn or a downtrend of the market, we would want to go ahead because we understand that in a downtrend, prices are going to create lower highs, prices are going to create lower lows. And so the ultimate trend, the ultimate objective of a bear market is for prices to go down. We want to place sell trades because with sell trades, we make money when the price goes down. And so when we get to a spot in market structure where we know that price is creating a lower high, just like in this example, that's where we want to go ahead and start to execute our sell trades and just make sure that we're getting into these opportunities. And by having a trading strategy that has several core components to it, now you could follow mine, where I'm basing everything on trend and risk management and how to enter and how to exit a trade. You can model that strategy and simply do what I'm doing. Or if you got your own trading strategy, that's fine. But what you want to ask yourself is, with this particular strategy, how is that helping you to compound your account? How is that helping you to compound your account? And if you're able to answer that question, and you're able to specifically say, well, because this is doing so and so, this is how it's allowing me to compound and grow, then use that trading strategy, practice that trading strategy, make sure that by testing and experimenting on that strategy, that it is something that you can use in terms of a viable and sustainable opportunity for you. Now, when we talk about playing the waiting game, and we talk about all these different trading strategies, and we talk about doing this not just on one pair, but on multiple pairs. The count right now at this point is we're doing this, or we're implementing this strategy on 7 different trading pairs so far. The ultimate objective out of all this is to find as many opportunities as we can in the financial market in the quickest amount of time possible. Because by doing that, what this allows us to do is it allows us to, again, we can play the waiting game, and we have been playing the waiting game with our opportunities, but that waiting game becomes a little bit less if we go into more pairs, if we go into more what I like to call parts of the ocean where we can go ahead and start to, place multiple fishing sticks because of all the different trades that are coming, of all the different fish that's available to catch, to bring back the fishing analogy. And again, the only way that I can even think about putting all these different accounts onto a real account is if I first practice doing this on a simulation or demo account. Because what I want to make sure we're doing here before we even think about placing this on a real account is to understand that can this pair with my strategy work on a demo account, work on a simulation, a paper money account that I am not putting any financial material into. And by doing that, when the strategy works and I'm able to grow my account, now I know I have a game plan going into, okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing now on a real account. Because the only difference, if we really think about it, and there'll be terms like slippage and other things that are out there, but the main difference truly is the fact that we're doing this now with real money. The emotions get a little bit more invested, a little bit more tied into what we're doing. And by placing this on a demo account, we're working to go through these emotions and build emotional fortitude to where we're not going to be bothered by those particular instances. Now, I say all of this, understanding that I have these amount of pairs that I'm doing right now. And I know that not everybody is at this particular level. And I've talked about it before. Some may be ahead of my level, some may be below my level. It doesn't necessarily matter where you're at the journey. All what you'll need to do is just understand where you're at in the journey. And by understanding where you're at in the journey, you also want to make sure you're going at your own pace. Because just by following me, it could get overwhelming. It could get it could get slow to some. And so if you can first be self-aware, the way that I'm teaching, is this a little too fast for me? The way that I'm teaching, is this going a little bit too slower for me? Now, if your answer is the former, then I would recommend, as I've mentioned this multiple times, going back to day one. If day one is the speed into which you feel most comfortable at, go through day one and allow yourself to build on that first. Allow yourself to get on the treadmill, if we're going to put the walking analogy into it now. Get yourself on the path to where you're just doing this, to where you're just, perhaps you need to just test out one pair. Gold, for example, that was the first pair that we start off with in the journey, and we traded on that for a week. Then we went to the second week and we did 2 pairs. Then the third week, 3 pairs. And perhaps you may only be able to just focus on 1 or 2 pairs. If you can only focus on 1 or 2 pairs, just focus in 1 and 2 pairs and don't worry about trying to get to multiple, 7 pairs like I'm doing right now. Because if you don't feel comfortable doing the trading with at least 1 or 2 or 3, then there's no way you can do it with multiple pairs. You have to give yourself a baseline, work through that baseline before you can go ahead and push yourself even further. The one thing that we don't want to end up doing as we keep this going is being at a point of overwhelm where we quit on ourselves because, oh, this is too overwhelming. There's so much information coming at me. And that's how come one of my biggest principles, if I haven't said it on every day, I've said it on almost every day, is Kaizen. One step at a time, one trade at a time, one day at a time, one brick at a time. Because as you start to build those steps And as you start to become a bit more comfortable with the steps that you're taking, then you can keep going and add a few more things. And even the sense of uncomfortability, understanding where you're at the journey, going at your own pace and taking those uncomfortable steps for your own, do realize no matter how tiny or how big that step could be, for someone else, they could go through the same exact thing, which is, I think, very important to understand in just a perspective base. Because again, I know that there are other traders that are out there that may or may not have more experience than I do, or going a little bit faster than I do, and that's fine. That's their pace. I'm not here for any comparisons. I'm here to do me in trading. I'm here to show off my unique set of excellence compared to other traders that are out there. And other traders have their own unique set of excellence too. It's not that we don't have, not each and every one of us has their own unique set of excellence. Everyone does. But I know that I have my own unique set of excellence compared to everyone else that has their own unique set of excellence. And my own unique set of excellence is going to get me through trading. To make a long story short, don't doubt the talent that you have within yourself. Just know that in order to extract that talent, you have to keep going. Now, with that being said, no matter where you're at in this journey, no matter how fast you feel or no matter how slow you feel, do understand that there are going to be millions of opportunities in this market. We're not here to trade for a day. We're not here to trade for a month. We're not here to trade for a week. We're not here to trade for a year. We're here to trade for the long term. We're here to trade for 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on and so on and so forth. So there are going to be millions of opportunities in the market to grab as we keep moving forward. There will be millions of opportunities for trades to be taken as we go forward. So our objective isn't to grow out of our comfortability overnight. Our objective isn't to trade and get rich overnight, get wealthy overnight. No, our objective is to grow out of the uncomfortability that we have, or I'm sorry, grow out of our comfortability that we have with trading, explore a little bit, push yourselves a little bit, test ourselves a little bit by bit. Kaizen, one step at a time, one piece at a time. And if we can be and if we're self-aware that, hey, I just did this, I didn't do this before, this is the first time I'm doing this, or this is the first, this may not be my first time in trading, but this is the first time I've tried this particular method. I've experimented in this particular way, that I'm not comfortable doing it in this manner, but I'm going to do it anyway. That is what allows for growth within not only your trading game, but even if we want to think about it in this way, this also helps you with your growth as a person. And so with coming back to that growth, getting out of your comfortability, part of that is what allowed me to develop my unique strategy in trading, which allowed me to experiment on that more, refine it after testing it a bit, seeing what was working, seeing what was not working, and going from there. And just being able to dictate, okay, I can get out of my head for just a little bit. I can get out of my head of being comfortable with where I was at in trading, what were we doing correctly in that zone that we want to keep, and what were we doing within that zone that was definitely not working, that was terrible. And as we extract that information, we know, okay, I know not to trade in this manner, or I know I need to adjust a setting here, or I have to tweak something here. And as you keep doing that, you may follow my strategy, you may not follow my strategy. You may do something completely different on your own. But what you will do is ultimately you'll have your own unique inner forex trading magic, your own unique strategy that's going to help you develop the account that you want. And ideally, the account that each and every one of us wants is to go ahead and compound it and grow it effectively. All right, everybody, I just wanted to come back and just show everyone that on UK oil, we did indeed take a loss on that. So no problem. We'll go ahead and we'll move forward, and we've gained the necessary experience that we need to move forward in our trading journey. So I went ahead and I closed some of the sell trades that we were in by executing some buy trades. Other than that, we don't have anything on platinum, nothing on gold as of yet. Let me just kind of move that to the lower chart corner so I can see. Nothing on gold, nothing. Oh, we do have in about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes right there, we may have a buy opportunity for gold versus euro. So I'm going to place that on the top so I can get a better view. So gold, there's nothing there. For silver, there's nothing there. For US oil, nothing there. And then for LTC USD, nothing there as well. So I'll be coming back to gold versus euro when we get a chance to. This candle is about to close within the next 5 minutes. So as long as that candle, when it's closed, the arrow is still there, then we will go ahead and we'll sink ourselves into this opportunity. So I'll keep on the lookout, and everybody stay tuned. All right, everybody, this candle is about to close right now. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to close one of my sell trades because that will act as me taking a open buy trade on gold versus euro. Just to give everybody a update, I don't have any other opportunities lined up as of yet. So at least for right now, we're going to go ahead and stick with gold versus euro for a open buy trade right there. Now, this actually brings up a very good point that I wanted to go ahead and talk about, which is I just wanted to reference again the parts of the candle that we're looking for. And this is especially important as we delve into the third component of our trading strategy, which is the how to enter and how to exit some of these trades. And so for the candle, for the latest candle right here, for example, with gold versus euro, there are 4 parts to the candle that we want to go ahead and we want to take a look at. The first 4 parts of the candle are the top wick and the bottom wick and the open and close of the candle itself. So I'm going to go with the open and close, and we're going to break that down just a little bit. So first, because that's just a little too much right there, or a little too small, I just want to zoom in so we can see this candle specifically where we got in. Now you're going to notice this rectangle right here. So I'm going to pull that up right there. The rectangle is going to demonstrate the open and close. Actually, I'm just messing that up here. Hold on. Let's try that again. So this right here is going to be the open and the close part that we'd focus on. So right here, so in a bull candle, and a bull candle is from where price started. Price has moved up just a little bit. That's the definition of a bull candle. And then we'll talk about bear candle in just a moment. But going back to the bull candle, the bull candle where price is open, so this bottom part of the rectangle right here, that is what's considered the open of the candle because price started at that point. And then as price moved up a little bit, so we see the top of the rectangle, that is what we consider the close of the rectangle right there. Now we just saw that the arrow has just moved over to this next candle right here. So if that closes in about 12 minutes with the buy arrow still intact, then I'll definitely go ahead and look to jumping in that trade opportunity. But as far as the upper and lower wick, so the low point and the high point, the lower and the higher wick, these right here will really help us determine more so how we enter these trades moving forward. Now we could see that even though for the open of that rectangle right there, that's where price started and that's where price ended. You'll notice that within this 15-minute time period, because on the 15-minute time frame, we would look at all these candles as a measurement of 15 minutes. We saw throughout this 15-minute time that price moved all in sorts of different directions up and down. And now because we're looking at a uptrend, so if I zoom back out just a little bit, we can see that we're most definitely in a uptrend. So prices are creating higher highs, prices are creating higher lows. And so within this, we understand that we are definitely in a bull market. And with a bull market, because prices are trending in a upward direction, we certainly want to go ahead and take buys. Now, with a bull market structure and taking buys, we don't want to buy when price is, so expensive. It's like going to the store. We would ultimately want to go into the store and buy a gallon of milk when there is a discount on the milk rather than a high markup on the milk. So in this example, price is at a point where it was discounted from the previous high point that was in the market. And so for us to know that prices are ultimately going to continue to go up, that's why we would go ahead and take a buy trade. Now, with that being said, there are multiple ways to confirm if we're in a lower high. So for example, one of our supports right here, which is indicated by our candle, this candle right here. So the low point was at 1700.67. We saw that while each of these candles didn't get to that particular point, we saw this last candle did with the wick. And so the low point of the wick broke this particular support, which triggered the buy arrow from being placed right there. Now, this candle right here, as we can see, this is the definition of a bear candle right now because prices are starting at this point right here and have moved down to this point with all this action in between. Now, this wick right here is a little bit lower than this wick, which caused the buy arrow to then transition to this particular point right here. Now, we're still in an uptrend regardless because we've not broken a major support, which I do believe would be right at this particular juncture right here, if I'm not mistaken. So that low point would be 1696.55. That is where I imagine that support would be. And if we break that, I don't believe we'd be in a uptrend any longer. So until that particular time, we still have the opportunity to take a buy trade on gold versus euro. And so because we have a buy arrow moving there and I already have a sell trade that's in profit, I'm going to be looking to close another sell trade that was already in profit rather than opening up a new buy trade and moving from there. So we got about 8 minutes before that candle closes. And again, our objective in all this. So, how come we're talking about when we're entering, when we're exiting? How come we're defining the wicks? How come we're defining when it's still appropriate to enter a buy trade? When do we know when our exit strategy is? All this comes down to, including trend and risk management, all this comes down to is making sure that we're preserving the working capital, which is our equity, not only on this pair, but all the other pairs that we have as well. And again, there are going to be times where that may not be possible to protect our equity, that we may indeed fall, blow our account, and need to start over. However, with that being said, we're still going to be able to understand what we did right on some of these pairs, what we didn't do right on some of these pairs, and be able to adjust our course of action from there. Now, you might be wondering how come some of these pairs may have a lot of drawdown based on our strategy. And again, that's because whenever we get into some of these trades, we have to understand that for example, right here, we know that there was a bigger amount of drawdown when we closed a sell trade that was in profit because we were looking at a buy trade. Because we have not seen price move in a upward direction yet, all we really did was just close the sell trade. That drawdown coming from some of the other open trades that we have dictate our drawdown coming into this particular situation. And again, part of that question I would answer as, for me, I don't necessarily look at the balance when I'm trading. I'm more so concentrated on, okay, what is going on equity wise? Equity wise, are we rising? Are we falling? Are we staying the same? So that's really the value specifically that I pay attention to. And then as far as the risk per trade, now the risk per trade to me is, it's going to differ on some of these pairs. Right now on platinum, I'm looking at the risk per trade as 200 points, which equals 20 pips. And if I'm doing a 0.01 lot size, then I'm risking at least $2 per trade. Now, some of these other pairs, because I haven't moved that far into the other phases, I'm still using phase 2, which is me just trading on the 15-minute time frame, very similar to what I was trading on the 5-minute time frame for some of these pairs. But I haven't necessarily gotten to a point where I have been able to get a particular risk calculated on that. All I'm doing is basically following, okay, I'm getting out when the arrow disappears, or I get 30 pips in profit. So that level of risk per trade can vary a little bit depending on the instrument that I'm looking at the time. And again, in this situation, we're in a buy trade right now. And so the idea for a buy trade is to make money when the price goes up. Because we're currently in a bear candle right now, technically we are not making money. We are losing money a little bit because of our buy trade. And again, I want to talk about the hedging system specifically, because that's going to really help the question of why so much drawdown and what's the risk per trade. Now, by using the hedging system, when we close a trade that is in profit, balance will go up. So this number here will go up, but the equity will not go up. And so what I encourage everybody, if you're going to start using this particular system, is to not necessarily pay attention. The balance is important. I wouldn't pay attention to it as much as the equity itself. Now, this strategy will pay off in one way or another. We can definitely see throughout this journey, throughout these 29 days, where we have seen that there has been a payoff by doing this. This has allowed us to see, what was working at the time, what was not working at the time, and being able to adjust based off of that. We have our plan or we know some of the what I like to call the kinks in our strategy that we need to work on for our strategy, no matter what happens, because we're able to get that experience, that data. And part of that data for me is being able to watch recordings that I have on my channel, review them, and being able to see, okay, this is what we were doing. This is how we can improve this a little bit. And that's the name of the game when you're in trading or just in life in general, is always finding a way to improve the craft or the skill that you're using in order to move forward in the right direction. No matter what that is, that could be Forex trading, that could be another passion that you're doing, but it's all about getting better and improving your craft so you can still develop and nurture and grow your unique set of excellence, or unique skill, or your unique skill of excellence, I should say. Now, a lot of the pairs that we're doing, so we've got about 7 right here, and I've talked about how come it's important to get to know the pair, right? To know how the pair moves. Because for each of these pairs, this will determine what phase of the strategy that A, we're on, and B, are there any tweaks that we need to make to that strategy in order to accommodate the pair that we are trading on? You know, for gold, again, I've talked about this. Gold versus euro, I'm not going to trade the same way as UK oil. I'm not going to trade that the same way as platinum. I'm not going to trade that the same way as gold. I'm not going to trade that the same way as silver. I'm not going to trade it the same way as US oil. And I'm not going to trade it the same way as LTC, because each of these pairs are going to move differently. They're going to have their own unique set of rules, their own unique set of other external factors that we have to look out for. And so that helps us in determining what particular phase of the strategy we need to use on it that's going to be the most effective. And so another thing that I want to talk about, and I'll actually give this until about the close of this particular candle right here, is to determine what is considered what market we're in. Now, there's only really 2 types of markets that we have to worry about. You know, and this goes back to just generally what we're looking at. You know, if we want, part of what I like to do, or part of what's helped me in the past, is really simplifying what beforehand was talked about in a complex manner. What I like to do is I like to simplify things so I can speak to the common man about this. And we got about 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's about to close. So let's close a sell trade that we were in and get the basically what we did right there is that we closed another sell trade that was in profit. So now we have 2 buy trades that are going on at the same time. And so coming back to the trending market versus consolidation market. Now, right here, I could see that we are in a trending market for the most part. You know, just taking a look at, okay, what has been happening so far? Yes, we had a little bit of looks like a little bit of a bearish turn right here, which was, cause for the sell arrow to pop up right here. But as we move forward, we could see, okay, we're trending in a upward direction right now. And now we're coming down just a little bit, creating the higher low. And so understanding that we're in a trending market where prices are continuing to go up, then I have more confidence that this buy trade is ultimately going to turn in our favor. And we can see right there that the buy arrow has moved over to the next candle. So in about 13 minutes from now, I'm going to be looking to enter another buy trade by closing a sell trade that's already in profit. Now, again, this is a definition of a trending market where you can see that there is a clear direction. So let's write that down. Trending market is a market where you can see that there is a significant direction in where the market is moving. So for example, for us, that could be prices are going up and prices are trending upwards. And thus we want to get into more buy opportunities because we see that the trend is going up. That generally means, until proven otherwise, that prices are still going to continue to go up for us. Vice versa, if we see a market that is trending down, then we know at that point where we can execute sell trades, because we understand that right now the market is, prices are going to continue to go down from that particular point. Now, consolidation works a little bit differently. That's the other type of market that we would become a part of. Consolidation market is a market where there is no direction. So the best way that I can describe a consolidation market is, let's say that there was a range. Let's say that 1693.34 and was the upper part of the range, the upper part of the market, and let's say 1688.90 was the lower part of the market. Normally what you would see, and it's not going to be exactly like this, but you are going to see something very similar, is where prices just do this all the time, where it just goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, in no direction, being in the market being completely sideways. That's the definition of a consolidation market. Now, in this scenario, it's a bit more difficult to predict, okay, where's the market going? Where can we place trades? But that doesn't necessarily mean that there are trades that we can't go ahead and still get into, because there are indeed trades that we can go ahead and still take. Now, whether or not they'll go in our favor, that is something that we would just have to go in and be able to have a plan on that. However, what will happen is ultimately you'll get a sense after that consolidation where the market is going to go. There will be what I like to call a breakout, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But essentially, once you have determined exactly where the market has gone from, so it's in this consolidation, it's in this sideways market. Once you know the boundary that price has decided to break and move specifically, whether that's up or down, you can then determine that a consolidation market has then become a trending market, because ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, this ultimately will become this at some point. But at the same time, you are also going to notice that this will become a consolidation market at some point too. Now, we can't predict exactly when that will come, but as you start to trade and as you start to take some of these trades, look at the market, look at these charts, you're going to notice, okay, there was definitely a point in time where the consolidation market became a trending market, and then a trending market became a consolidation market. All right, everybody. So I'm back. We're still looking at gold versus euro for a buy trade. We're still in that trade currently with the buy arrow moving to this candle right here. So we're going to go ahead and let that trade play out. And when the candle does close, and if that buy arrow still remains, we'll go ahead and we'll close out this sell trade that's in profit, and we'll move forward in that direction. And then also I'm going to move gold up because we do have a buy arrow right there. So I'll also be looking into getting into a buy trade with that pair if the candle closes and indeed the buy arrow does not disappear. So we got two potential pairs that we're looking at right now. Anything else that we have in mind? UK oil, nothing. Platinum, nothing. Ooh, silver, we do have something on silver, so I'm going to be moving that as well. So we got three pairs right there. US oil, nothing. And then LTC, I don't have anything on that as well. So three pairs in the mix right now that we're taking a look at. And another thing that I do want to go over is just being comfortable with being able to look at your results. And if you ever get into that space of comfortability, and then when you're more comfortable after even just looking at your results and accepting the results of your trading, being able to share those as well. And just being comfortable. And really, this is just for me, in my perspective, where I know it's difficult to share what's going on with my accounts. You've seen a lot of stuff that's happened. You've seen some, again, good days, great days, bad days, ugly days. And throughout it all, I'm making a point to share each and every one of those days, share each and every one of those results, because I do believe that it's important for me to be as transparent as I can with my trading. I want to be the individual that's showing everyone, hey, like, this is what's going on. Like, if you're having a bad day, don't worry, it's going to happen to you. If you're having a great day, awesome, that will also happen to you as well. But no matter what particular day that you're going through, it's important to understand that the best remedy or the best solution to any one of those days is to just keep going. Because by just keeping going, if I could turn a phrase like that, this allows you to, again, look back at, because there have been so many days so far that we've done that for me, it could be easy for me to get stuck on one day just because I didn't have such a great day. But by going in this, what I like to call perspective, where I essentially have tunnel vision, and all I'm doing is I'm focusing in on my present trading, what's going on at the present moment, being grateful that I'm here still able to teach and do all the trading and still be in a position to take some of these trades and still able to have that fervor for doing so. What this allows me to do is put myself back into a state of being in the present, understanding that the past trading, the past results, does not control or dictate what I'm doing in the present, which will then not control or dictate what happens in the future. And as long as I can have that particular perspective, then I can still go ahead and do what I need to do in order to successfully trade. And that does not come easy, it does not come overnight. My first day of trading, when everyone was able to see my videos, this came after about a year and 10 months of doing this. So everyone is going to be different. Everyone's going to have their own timetable. Everyone's going to have their own journey to do all this. But ultimately, you will get to a point where you'll get more comfortable trading. You'll get more comfortable accepting your results, no matter what. And you'll get comfortable with understanding this is what happened. Okay, now we move forward and we move on. And as long as everyone is able to do that, then we're going to be absolutely fine. We're going to be absolutely perfect. So with that being said, I've talked about in the past that, there have been a lot of great books that have come into my life that I've been able to read and that have been able for me to just do the things that allow me to get better at, whether it's trading or whether it's a better morning habit or whatever the case may be. I'm able to go ahead and I'm able to get that done successfully. So with that being said, what I would like to go ahead and what I would like to talk about today, one of my books that I have read throughout my journey, is a particular book called The Miracle Morning. Now, The Miracle Morning, this was a book by, I feel so terrible. I don't know the full individual's name. Okay, so the buyer did not disappear. So now I'm starting to realize that the better support level was right about over here. So, okay, so I'll keep that in mind. But more to the point, the person that I'm going to be talking about, his name, I know his first name is Hal, but the idea with the Miracle Morning is, I believe in the principle of miracles. I believe everyone at some point or another does believe in the point or believe in the principle of miracles. But the only way to get those miracles is to put yourself in a position to do the actions that are necessary in order to receive the miracles. And so this book really illustrated the fact for me that yes, miracles can happen. They're certainly a thing. I don't believe in coincidences. No, I believe in a spiritual principle that the universe will give to you what you desire, what you want, what you're thinking about, how you're feeling, but you still have to do the work in order for those things to come to you. And so within the miracle morning, there are really, if we think about it, only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other perspective is that everything is a miracle. And if we think about it, if I even just think about it in my life, right, as this candle closes here about in the next second, boom, I just went ahead and I closed another sell trade that was in profit. So we're about three buy trades with gold versus euro. Gold, I'm going to close one sell trade so that I am now executing a buy trade. And then with silver, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just execute a buy trade right here. So now we're in a buy trade with silver. And then I do not have anything else lined up for any of these other pairs. So right now I'm in one buy trade with silver, one buy trade in with gold, and one buy trade in with, or I'm sorry, three buy trades with gold versus euro. Okay. So let me erase all this because this is just in the way. There we go. So, I mean, there's really only two ways to live your life. And in that matter of that miracle perspective. And while everything is, I believe in a sense of you make your own fate. And the miracles that are given to us are based on the ways that we choose to live our own fate. I believe that while everything does happen for a reason, good or bad, miracles do happen for a reason, good or bad. And if we're able to be more open to that aspect, for example, I didn't wake up one day and say that I was going to coach or even talk about Forex trading in this perspective. I didn't wake up one day and say I was going to talk about financial investing in this matter. I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and put up a YouTube channel and talk about financial investing. That didn't all come to me when I was a little baby and born. No, first I had to go ahead and get the ideas and thoughts and the miracles, or another way we can look at miracles is unexpected events. I have to look back at the miracle of when I got onto Chica Simone's show, the Let's Get It All Out show, when I first learned about the concept of Forex trading when she was talking about this particular trading program all the way back in October of 2020. It was the Wednesday before Halloween she was talking about that. And even if I go back to then the other points in my life, they even got to that part, joining the X Squad network, forming the first podcast I did at the time, which was the Keeping It 100 podcast with, my good friends, Desmond Lawrence and Leo Rydell. I look at that point as, super grateful I did all that, because without those, I don't get to the X Squad or Chica Simone or even learning about Forex trading. And when you start to put it in that perspective, you realize, wow, it was a miracle that at that particular point in time, I decided to start the show. We decided to start the show at that time to get us to the network, to get us to the person, to get us to that system of investing education, how I got my
toes dipped into that. And then even if I want to go back, how I met Leo Rydell and Desmond Lawrence was even a miracle of it in itself, because I at that point decided to choose an action that led me to the miracle of seeing those particular individuals to start then planting the seed of, and we do see that the buy arrow has moved over to the next candle, so I'm going to be taking a look at that as well. But my point being that we can never know how much of a impact all these events that we do right in front of us, where they are going to lead us within a certain time. I can think of every action that I have taken where there was a subsequent miracle, a subsequent result that was produced after that action, that, for lack of a better word, as long as I understand which side of the coin I'm seeing, that has led me to this positive miracle, which is me right here on day 29, talking about my trades and talking about what I'm doing. Miracles do not happen in contradiction with nature, but in contradiction with what we know about nature, right? They, as far as, the miracles, right? What they're contradicting. I, again, did not know when all this was going to start back. Again, having that perspective of hindsight is important for this reason. I didn't know at that time, when I decided to make the commitment of learning the skill of Forex trading back on November 1st, I didn't know the path it would take me. I didn't know I was going to join this company, only for it to be shut down 2 months in after I joined, which then led me to a path of being one of the founding members of Gobi Trade House and being grateful to be a part of that base, understanding what it takes to build a business, understanding some of the networks and some of the skills and some of the vision and some of the experience I gained just by being there, and understanding, okay, what do I need to do as a leader, and what I also don't need to do as a leader. And then being able to then come over to what I'm doing with 8-Minute Trader, Longevity, Salvatore Leto, Dr. Luis Ariaza, Maurice Katz, Ryan Doctorchek, the list goes on. How I got from there was the fact of this other miracle where I went ahead and I met somebody from Gobi Trade House that got me to this point right here. See, all that sounds crazy. It's like, well, if we think about it, we don't know who we're going to meet on this journey. We don't know the paths that we're going to develop. And, again, every action that we make, the way that we live our life is indeed based on choices. But within those choices produce certain results, certain miracles that are, again, contradictory to what we believe. But because we took that action, that was the moment that miracle had then the potential to be produced. Life begins each morning when we wake up. For me, life normally begins for me at 4:30 in the morning each and every day. Today it was a little different, 5:30. I did oversleep a little bit. But life begins at that point where we can go ahead and take the actions that we want to take, that will produce the miracles and results that we subconsciously desired based on the actions that we have taken. It is our responsibility to choose the most empowering reasons for the challenges, events, and circumstances of our lives. And I do believe in some part, I've been put in this position to show there is a way, that there is a way of being able to come from the darkest pits. And I know I'm going to get into, some of those darkest pits later. I still don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing that right now, but at least knowing that there were dark pits is more than enough for me to, be able to, be more open, acknowledge, accept it. But
I do believe I was put within those circumstances and those challenges to to understand first within myself that I'm not perfect, that there's no definition of perfectionism, and that the actions that were taken, if I could flip my mind, if I can change the mindset to what was going wrong in those situations, to okay, what did we take from those situations that were right, that instead of looking how this decision pushed some things negatively on us, how did some of these things actually push us positively towards the things that we do want, that we do desire? I don't believe contrary to belief, I don't believe that this world is meant for suffering. I do believe at some point we are supposed to have fun in this world, that we are supposed to experience joy, whatever that joy means to you. My joy is not your joy. Your joy is not my joy. But I do believe we are put on this world to experience a level of joy. And if we can choose, choose that responsibility to talk about that and be able to choose, right? Again, life is all about choices. But if we can choose what we tend to want to see in each and every moment in our lives, and choose to see the good rather than the bad, then more of the good, in principle, based on the law of attraction, will head your way. By focusing on what we can learn from our challenges and how we can use them to add value to the lives of others, we can turn any adversity into an advantage. And for me, one of the more recent adversities, of course, is everyone has been able to see, hey, I've blown a couple of accounts. I'm not, we're not ignorant to this fact. And what we have done in that sense, and don't mind me, I'm just taking a look at some of these trades right here. But what we have done by admitting that I'm in some of these challenges, and I'm learning, I'm moving forward, I'm pushing myself, I'm growing myself, and we're doing the things that are needed. I can use some of these stories now to teach people, okay, what did I learn from my experience? If you get into this situation, I would do this because this would be a little bit better. And if I could pass that along to you guys, and you guys don't have to go through that pain, or if you go through that pain, have that pain be less than the time I taken, then for me, it would have been worth it to go through that pain, because I could help those who go through the same thing, not have that. I can essentially, to make a long story short, not have you go through the same thing in the same amount of time. There's always a way when you're committed. Just remember that. There's always a way to trading. There's always a way to anything that you want to do in life that you want to be successful at. If you are committed to being successful, if I am committed, in fact, I am committed to being a world-changing emperor. I am committed to being a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner. I am committed to being a global network. I am committed to being the top podcaster in the world. I am committed to being the top Forex coach in the world. And because I can speak that into existence, I can commit myself to that commitment. I speak my commitment into existence. Then I know no matter how long it takes, as long as I'm able to push myself, there's always a way. And that's something that you want to go ahead and remind yourself. If you do get into a bad day, if you get into a bad situation, remember the reason you committed to doing this. What was that reason? What was that why? And when you have that, then I don't care how bad your day is, you don't quit on a bad day. I learned that from Tom Chenault. You do not quit on a bad day. If you want to quit on a good day. But I don't recommend quitting this industry. I definitely do not. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get myself into another buy for gold versus euro since the buy arrow moved over to the next candle. For gold, we're still looking at gold, just one open buy trade there so far. For silver, we're still also looking at one buy trade so far. Everything else, UK, platinum, US oil, so UK, US oil, platinum, and LTC, no opportunities as of yet, so I will be monitoring those. So in the meantime, we've got still about 4 open trades for gold versus euro, 1 open buy trade for gold, and 1 open buy trade for silver. And when I have further updates, I will let you guys know. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and start to get into some of these sell trade positions right here. We could see that my buy arrow has indeed disappeared. So the uptrend is no longer valid. So we ultimately took a loss on gold. That's okay. We will bounce back. Currently, we are still in the gold versus USD, and we are also currently in silver versus USD as well. UK oil, platinum, US oil, and LTC. We do not have a trade opportunity on those as of yet. So we will go ahead and wait until an opportunity becomes available for us. So that's the update I have for everyone. So I'm still monitoring these 2 pairs, gold and silver. And when I have a further update, I will let you guys know. Okay, everybody, I just want to give a quick update on where we are with LTC USD. I went ahead and I placed a buy trade on that particular pair. So I'm going to go ahead and allow that particular trade to play. As we can see, we do have a uptrend coming in for LTC USD. And so I definitely believe that with a uptrend, a bull market structure, we're tending for price. We're going to be looking for price to go up. So we'll take that buy on LTC USD specifically. And then to give an update, we've got gold. Looks like gold. Let me see here. Gold would have been right here. And so that would have been a low point, 1660.96. The low point was 1660.83. Do I have an open sell trade? Nope. Okay, so I'm going to place another buy trade right here. The buy arrow did move over to the next candle. So as long as that candle closes within the next 15 minutes and we're able to see a profit on, or we're able to make sure that the candle closes with the buy arrow still intact, we'll be looking to get into another buy trade even after the trade that we took. So we got 2 open buy trades on gold. We've got, let me see here. We're going to get another buy trade on silver started. And then I've got 1 more buy trade that I can get into silver again, because the buy arrow did move over to the next candle. As long as that candle closed within the next 15 minutes with that buy arrow still intact, that'll be another buy trade I'll be looking to get into. So to recap, we've got 1 buy trade for LTC USD, 2 buy trades for silver, 2 buy trades for gold, and then I do not have anything else. Oh, and we also have an opportunity to get back into UK oil for a potential buy trade. So I'm going to move that actually right over here. So that is actually could take place within the next couple of minutes. So within the next 3 minutes, we may see another trade that is taking place. Ooh, we also have platinum as a opportunity as well. So I'm going to move that up there. And then, and we also have US oil as an opportunity. So a lot of good things are kind of happening to us here within the next couple of minutes. So I'll be looking specifically at UK oil within the next 2 minutes. And when I have a further update for you guys, I will let you know. Okay, everybody. So I am going to get myself into an open buy trade with UK oil. And the way that I am going to do that is to close a sell trade that was in profit. So as we can see, we closed a sell trade that was in profit for us. And so our objective now is to go ahead and allow this particular trade to play out. So we are going to go ahead and do just that. I wonder what happened there, but Oh, I remember what happened. Okay. So that's fine. So we got okay. No, I see. Right, the swap fee. I keep forgetting about that. So we have closed a sell trade that is in, or that was in profit. We're going to be looking to do and so you got one open buy trade with UK oil at this point. We're going to be looking at a few other opportunities within the next 9 minutes for some of these other pairs. So I am looking and monitoring all that happening as well. So we got about 6 different pairs that we're going to be looking to place a buy trade on, and that is all. The rest of them are going to be taking place within the. Oh, it looks like we may have. Did our buy arrow disappear? I think our buy arrow disappeared. So I'm ultimately going to just take a sell trade right here. Okay. So interesting. The buy arrow did indeed disappear right there. So I'm going to exit out of UK oil and put that to the side for right now. We still got everything else in play. Everything else in play for our 5 trades here. So when I have a further update for you guys within the next 7.5 minutes, that's what I'm going to be looking for in terms of getting more buy opportunities in, more trade opportunities in. I will let you guys know. All right, everybody. So I'm going to place a buy on gold. I'm going to place a buy on silver. I am going to place a buy on LTC USD. I'm going to place a buy on platinum. I'm going to place a buy on oil, and and that is about it for actually, could I have just oh no, these are all buys. Okay, great. Okay. So I'm gonna place a buy on all those. So we've got so to recap, we've got about 3 open buy trades on gold. We've got 2 open buy, no, 2 or 3. I think we have 3 open buy trades on silver. We've got 2 open buy trades on LTC, 1 open buy trade on platinum, 1 open buy trade on oil. So just want to give a recap on exactly what's going on. So as you can see, I've got all these different charts that I'm going to go ahead and monitor as we move forward. But just wanted to give you a status update on those pairs specifically and what's going on. Also, I need to go ahead and do this while I'm thinking about it. Again, we're following a different strategy with platinum. So the low point right here, 907.81. Oh, it's right there. So now I'm going to put that on 905.79 is our mark. 905 point, what was that? 905.79, 905.79. 905.79 is right here. Come on. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I've got that right there. Oh, oil also had a close right there, so I'm just going to place a sell right there. Okay, so that buy arrow did indeed disappear, so we're not focused on oil anymore. So oils are done. The gold is done, or gold versus euro is done for right now. Okay, and then we got platinum. We have got LTC USD. We have got silver, and we have got gold remaining. So those are our pairs right there. And again, we are getting very close to our time where we end up closing for the trading day today. So that's going to be taking place in about little over 12 minutes from now. So if I have a further update for you guys, I'll definitely let you know. But again, just to let everyone know exactly what pairs we're looking at right now, what trades we're currently focused on. We got 1 on platinum. We've got 2 on LTC USD. We've got, I believe, 3 on silver, and we have got 3 on gold. So those are the pairs I'm going to be looking at, and I'll provide you further updates when I can. All right, so I'm going to close one of my silver trays that was in about 30 pips of profit right there. So got a nice little victory on that. LTC is moving. We've got platinum that's moving. We don't have, well, now the buy arrow just showed up on the other candle right there. So I may or may not get into a trade depending on how we want to go ahead and, oh, well, the arrow just disappeared again. So I may just go ahead and just ignore all for right now, because it's definitely doing its thing. Euro, nothing's there. Gold versus euro, nothing there. So the oils, there's nothing there. Platinum, we are moving in. Platinum's moving in its own direction. LTC USD is moving. Silver is moving currently as well, and we've got gold moving in its own direction as well. So this is the update I have so far. So I got about 2 minutes before we go ahead and we close out. And so what we had, so even though I'm grateful for this, even though I didn't wake up as early as I'd like to, which is normally around 4:30, I like to wake up. We didn't miss any trade opportunities from what I saw earlier this morning, so I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful we have this new pair to trade on, LTC USD. I'm grateful to be able to trade here for these past 29 days with you guys, and just learning, keeping growing, keeping myself disciplined in my strategy, not wanting to break anything. I'm grateful for learning something new in these particular markets, as we always do. And, that's why I like to keep trading, adding new pairs, is to be great, to continuously learn, so that I can disseminate that and pass along easier digestible information to you guys. So very grateful to keep doing this. Of course, if you do have any questions whatsoever as we move forward, feel free to contact me at the following channels. Of course, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me on these YouTube videos right here. You can definitely leave a comment. Let me know what your questions are. Make sure to get those answered for you. You can also contact me on Facebook. I got a Facebook, Jordan Rosario. You can contact me on Instagram. That's Jordan Rosario 777. You can also contact me on Twitter, and that is WC_EmpRosario. So those are the 3 methods that you can go ahead and, let me move that down right over here. Okay, perfect. Those are the 3 channels that you can go ahead and contact me on as we go ahead and watch these last seconds of this 15-minute candle close. Let's go ahead and let's close this. Let's close this. I'm going to place a sell right here. That makes sure that we have no margin on gold. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to place a couple of sells right here to get ourselves 0 margined on silver. And then LTC, remove that. LTC, I'm going to go ahead and just have 2 sell trades on LTC USD. And then for platinum, I'm going to go ahead and execute a sell right here. Then everything else is also margin out. So this is where we leave off for today on a day 29 of our absolutely amazing Forex journey together. Again, I very much appreciate you guys for always sticking around, watching these videos, and gathering at least something that's going to allow you to move forward to the next level. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow for day 30 of my Forex trading journey, and we'll take it from there. So everybody have a amazing, beautiful rest of your day. And as always, happy trading.